Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is CJ. We're going to jump right into episode 14 of the JBJ 65-gallon reef build. I know it's been a while. It's been roughly 2 months since my last update on the tank. And it's been running for about 7 months, or I would say around 6 months since I put water in it. I figured it's time to catch you guys up on the latest of what's going on with the tank. So as you guys can see, doing a quick unboxing. We got another order from saltwaterfish.com. The last video I shared a fish order. This time we're going heavy on the inverts, pure inverts, meaning fire shrimp, cleaner shrimp, conch snails, solid lightfoot crabs. We're gonna add a lot of movement and a lot of life to the tank. Hopefully, a lot more as far as cleanup crew, getting in the crevices, getting all the detritus and leftover food and whatever else is in the tank. I needed some more scavengers, and this is definitely gonna be what takes care of it for me. So for anyone that's watched my videos in the past, you guys have watched me multiple times, just temperature acclimating my fish, opening the bag, and just dropping them right in the tank. Well, when it comes to inverts, I definitely want to give these guys the best chance for success. So you got to go a step further. And in my situation, I did not have a drip acclimation ready, but taking a turkey baster, some tank water, and slowly mixing it in the container. Hopefully we'll get these guys used to the conditions they're going to be living in. And so far doing it this way, I've had pretty good success, and I don't expect this to go any different. So now the livestock's in, let's take a raw and uncut look at the ugliness that is the JBJ right now. And I say ugliness because honestly guys, the tank is full of algae everywhere. Front glass, side glass, back wall, it's growing on the rockscape, starting to cover the sand bed. This is just a pure result of a lack of husbandry and maintenance. This is what happens. Now, is it the end of the world for the tank? Of course not. Algae is a naturally growing thing that happens with, abundance of nutrients and lighting and whatever the case may be. Doesn't mean your tank's in poor health. It may mean things are a little out of balance, but if you put the time into it, you can get it back in shape. So that's pretty much going to be the goal. Football is finally over, and I can finally get my hands in the tank and actually start doing things to get it back into shape. Now, I will tell you guys, in the midst of this last, few months of not really touching it, all I've noticed is just a little hair algae, a little diatoms, no bryopsis, no other nuisance things, turf algae or anything else that looked completely out of control. So from what I can tell, just getting my hands in here and getting this thing back in balance is going to be all this tank needs to get back in tip-top shape. So what is going to be the new master plan for getting this JBJ back in shape? And you guys know how I am with my master plans, right? They always work sometimes. That's my famous last words usually. But one thing I will tell you guys I'm consistent in, if you've ever watched any of my previous builds, is keeping things as natural as possible, especially when it comes to trying to fix problems. You can easily run out and grab fluconazole or any other bottles of, magic stuff that's going to get rid of your algae and diatoms or whatever the case may be. It's just not something I've ever really believed in. What I do believe in is just taking care of it yourself. So in this situation, scrubbing the glass, scrubbing the back wall, getting all these things into the water column, stirring the sand bed, cranking up the flow has always been my recipe for exporting bad stuff out of my tank. So I'm not changing it. I'm going to do the same thing with this system. Now, I will tell you, the lack of doing this on a consistent basis and schedule probably is the main reason the tank has gotten this far, but starting a consistent schedule now with water changes probably the next, every couple weeks is going to be the remedy for this. And also siphoning the sand bed and just helping the tank get rid of whatever's extra that's feeding this algae. Now, one thing I will tell you, I have not really tested the tank at all. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Probably the last 5 months. No nitrate tests, no phosphate tests, no nutrient tests, nothing. I haven't even checked the alkalinity, calcium, magnesium on the system, not one time, to be honest. Without any corals in here, no need for those trace element checks. But, with the nutrients maybe being out of balance, checking the nitrates and phosphates is definitely something I am going to do, and I'll share the results with you this video. But first things first, taking care of the tank, getting the water changed, and getting this thing back presentable so I can finally share all the new livestock in the tank with you guys. Now, before we do that, let's take a quick look at one last bit of maintenance I need to share with you all, and it's related to the Gyre 330 pumps and the random flow generators. Now, for those that don't know, I did upgrade the return nozzles on the JBJ, and we'll look at those in a second. But I do want to address one question I got in the past related to how easy or, how hard is it to take apart these new gyres. And to be honest, guys, it's super easy. I mean, I disassembled these things, put them back together, fit like a charm. It wasn't a situation where you take it apart and it never fits back right. Everything snapped back into place, and I just can't say enough about how easy it was to maintain these pumps. It's to the point now to where I'm actually encouraged to do this more often. It's not too much of a headache to get this done, so let's definitely shout out to Maxspect for getting that part fixed. Now, to get this clean, I did soak all of this in a solution of hot water and vinegar. It appeared to do the trick. Everything's back brand new at this point. So now that that's all said and done, we can finally get to the official 6-month update on the JBJ65. 6 months already. Man, I gotta tell you guys, this has went by super quick. And considering all the headaches I had with just basic cycling issues on this tank, I'm just glad it's looking presentable and actually looks like it has potential once again. So before we dive into all the livestock in the tank, give you guys a quick update on the lid or the screen top. This is going to be the Pisces XO lid I shared with you guys a few months ago. Just giving you guys a quick update. It's still performing beautifully. Hasn't faded, hasn't, start bowing, nothing. It's still in the perfect shape it was when I first got it. And even better, it's prevented any suicide deaths, no fish potato chips, everything staying in the JBJ with this lid on the tank. So for those wondering what's going on in the rear chamber, to be honest, nothing's changed, guys. Still have the Apex probe hooked up, still have the Finnex heater, still have my return lines as far as my auto top off. Still running the Cadlights skimmer, which is doing an amazing job. It's turned off right now. I didn't want it to overflow during the water change. Need to empty that nasty skimmate. But for the most part, everything's still the same. Now, I do have a bit of bad news. The algae scrubber apparently shorted out or died. So I never got a chance to really see any growth from it before that happened. I have not had a chance to reach out to Santa Monica yet as well. So I'll follow up with them and see if we can do something about possibly trying a different scrubber on the tank. But also the Apex probes, man, they have lost calibration. So I got to try to address that as well. So in the rear of the tank, everything's still the same, but there is some need for improvement. So now that we covered equipment, now you guys should have a better idea of why I'm dealing with these issues. After I checked the parameters, nitrates were not completely out of whack. They were only like 5 to 10 parts per million. My phosphates were 0.031 according to the ultra low Hana phosphorus checker. So surprisingly, they were not completely out of whack. So why am I still having these issues in the tank? Personally, I feel like it's due to a lack of export or a lack of something out competing the display. Without having an algae scrubber, the skimmer just can't do it on its own. So until I get that replaced or set up some kind of refugium or something to outcompete the algae in here, I think I'm going to keep having these battles. So, it's all about balancing things out and nutrient management, either feeding the tank less, lowering my livestock, something to try to keep it in balance. But even with this happening, if you guys look at the rock work, it still looks fine. I mean, there's no real hair algae growing. There's no real turf algae growing. And honestly, this 30 pounds of real reef rock looks amazing. For those wondering what my thoughts was 6 months later after using this rock, it's awesome. I mean, honestly, I love the way it looks. And so far, it hasn't really given me any issues. So at this point, I would definitely consider this rock a pretty good choice if you're on the fence about it. So what is going on with the stock list and the JBJ? For those that are watching, if you remember my last video, we do have some different residents in the tank. So let's go ahead and get the bad news out of the way first. I did have some losses. And by losses, I'm referring specifically to the 3 fish I had ordered online from Saltwater Fish. Not really sure what happened, to be honest, guys. It was like 3 or 4 weeks in, and I ended up losing all 3 of them. I lost the Flame Angel, I lost the Multi-Bar Angel, and the Cigar Wrasse, which was really one of my favorite ones in the system. I really can't pinpoint what exactly happened. What I will say is I have replaced them since with local fish. So I replaced the Flame Angel, and I also added a Melanaris Wrasse and a Christmas Wrasse to go along with the Yellow Chorus Wrasse and the 2 Wyman White Clownfish. So we're back up to 6 fish. Everyone has been in the tank fine. It's been around a month or so since I added the last additions, And so far, everything's doing very, very well. And also, the inverts, the ones I ordered from saltwaterfish.com at the beginning of the video. If you can tell, these guys are running around the tank full of life, full of activity, you know, scavenging, doing what they do, and looking great doing it. And my favorite shrimp of all is going to be those fire shrimp. These guys gotta be the biggest fire shrimp I've ever owned having in a reef tank. Pushing every bit of 2.5 to 3 inches, to the point to where I'm not afraid of any wrasse messing with them. I'm afraid of them messing with the wrasse or any other fish that gets too close to them. So, I mean, they definitely add a lot of color and pop to the tank. And I'm looking forward to, you know, watching these guys kind of do what they do. I'm all about inverts and movement, and I feel like I'm well on my way to getting the kind of stock list I want. And I'm still missing a few particular fish. You know, Iridis or Radiant wrasse is definitely on my list. Green chorus wrasse is definitely on my list. And I have a couple other maintenance fish that I'm looking for as well. And I'm trying to round out the stock list of maybe, you know, around 10 fish if I can stop it at that. Definitely not going to be adding any tangs or anything that's going to get too big, because I don't plan on getting rid of this tank anytime soon. So, I mean, that pretty much rounds out the stock list in the tank. I'm just glad to have this much movement and this much, you know, activity in the system. But here comes the $1 million question, right? You know, where are the corals? When are you going to add corals? To be honest, guys, if you remember, I have not tested the tank as far as, you know, alkalinity, magnesium, calcium for a reason. I didn't want to put that stress of trying to maintain this knowing I couldn't focus. But that time for not being able to focus is over. I'm ready to go. So it's time to get back involved in the hobby, full go, and it's finally time to start adding corals, you know, looking into getting the calcium reactor hooked up and looking into getting this tank back good to go and full of life and color with all kinds of life. So at this point, guys, I think this covers everything I really wanted to as far as this update. I don't want to drag it out too long, but I do want to say I'm officially back, and we will be getting updates out more frequently on the JBJ. So definitely make sure you subscribe, you know, hit the notification bell and all that good stuff to stay up to date. So as always, hey, you guys like, comment, subscribe. You guys keep doing what y'all do. Y'all be easy and happy reefing. Peace.